Welcome into the OBR streaming network. This is a brand new edition of All Eyes on Cleveland. Welcome to the show. I see you filing into the chat. We are so thankful for your participation as always. 200, some of you are already here. What is happening? Hope you're all doing well out there amidst these trying times as Brown fans. However, the good news, as we will talk about tonight, is we have another game in just a few days, and a whole new, hopefully, new narratives will arise, positive, hopefully, in some ways. So appreciate you guys joining us. Howdy, what's up? Thanks, James. Appreciate it. And we are happy to be here. The man next to me is the one and only Casey Kinnamon. Follow him on Twitter at Casey_Kinnamon. What's that say? On to Jacksonville. That's right. It's about that time. Chat username feels confident this week. That's good. I do too. You know, in the betting markets, right? Like, if you watch a betting show or if you follow, I'm a degenerate. We all know that by now. I bet, gamble. But, when a team loses like that, there's a lot of people be putting money on the Browns this week. Well, I guess Jacksonville lost too. But when you look as bad as they did, it's a bounce back spot, right? So it's interesting. What's the line? Do we know the line on the game? Is it
last time I saw Browns were getting 3?
Yeah. It started at like 6, I think. It's
yes,
moving.
I mean, last time I looked at it, it's been a few days.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is All Eyes on Cleveland. We've got some stuff to cover tonight, of course. Drew, fumble, what is happening? Casey has hair. Yes, yep, he does. We all have hair. I just got my hair cut today.
Yeah, I got mine done on Tuesday. I got faded up.
Yeah. It's looking kind of crazy right now, but yeah. So we both got fades this week.
Yeah, look at us. Look at us. Hey, new week, new us. You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's what I was going for. I told the barber, I said, give me a winning haircut.
Get that loss off of me.
Yeah. So here we are. Hit like, hit subscribe. It just takes you a second. Doesn't cost you a penny. So, and we appreciate that in advance. Atone for your sins and hit that button. I'm a month behind on the hair and beard, says Drew. That's okay, brother. We've all been there before. I've been there before, certainly. All right. All Eyes on Cleveland. Let's start with some of the news. As we're back to keeping up with this saga again. Right? So here we go. Today, the news, this is, to me, was the kind of the news of the day. Okay. So Tony Busby says that this is from Tony Busby. The alleged victim will meet with the NFL. And the quote is, I intend to make my client available for interview along. It's only supposed to say along once there, just FYI, along with 2 individuals who spoke to her immediately after the assault. I also have video to share that will be pertinent via Tony Busby. So, Casey, this to me, I don't, Busby came out with a really strong statement because nobody can say anything on the other side right now.
Yep.
So he can really kind of say whatever he wants. We talked about this a lot last night, but, and yeah, they're going to go in 2 weeks to meet with the NFL, as MC just pointed out in the chat. The fact that they're meeting with the NFL, I mean, it depends on where you come down, on what side of this thing you come down, right? Like, there's a group of people out there kind of secretly hoping that maybe this thing could
Lead to a
provide
contract being voided.
lead to a suspension, which could lead to his contract being voided.
Mhm.
And then, there's a group that is just kind of, I don't know if that's going to happen, Casey. Um, at this point,
Yeah, none of us do.
I'm trying to kind of stay like, I almost feel like a player a little bit, like try to stay
Switzerland. just neutral. Yeah.
week to week, and handle this
Mhm.
as it goes. But I mean, so
I,
where are you at with this stuff?
okay. Just the statement he's released right there. I lean on the side that if there were video, this would be a criminal case. If they had video,
That's what I
I
thought
don't.
too.
So it's, and also Busby said earlier in the week that they're going to push for a jury trial. There's no way his client wants that. That's language to push for the settlement. Like, like saying we're going to drag this out in court. That's just incentive for the other person to pony up and then make this not happen. Because I highly doubt that she, the victim and alleged victim, wants to go in front of a judge in a courtroom and jurors and relive this. It's
Yes. The peculiar things, as we pointed out last night, is well, let me ask you this. I'll take this down. You guys have seen this now. Wait, what did you think of Deshaun's press conference yesterday? Did you think he handled it well? How did you
honestly,
think?
I actually do think he handled it well.
Really?
He kept the thing about the thing. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing he's going to say that's going to win. If you were one way or the other, it doesn't matter. Like, he just, I don't know. In his case, with what's going on and what he's already been through with this kind of off the field stuff, I think he knows the playbook.
Yeah.
Just try to keep it between the lines. Just try to keep it. We're going to just talk about football. I'm going to redirect every question to end up being about football. Like, I don't know. I don't. He shouldn't be speaking on it at all. Sure, Rusty Harden, his attorney, would advise him that. I don't know.
I don't.
There's no winning in this.
The thing about I should have looked this up ahead of the show. The thing that we don't know that we brought up last night and I didn't look at was the statute of limitations in criminal court for
No,
this.
they've already passed. But like, if this video existed, it existed when it happened. They didn't you know what I mean?
Right, but she just came forward, so that's what I'm saying. Like, they may not be able to go to criminal court at this
No, they
point.
won't. That's what I'm saying. But the video existed the entire time.
Sure, yeah, but I mean, they just came forward 10 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
That's the peculiar thing is how does Deshaun say he didn't know about this, yet they reached out to his lawyers 10 months ago?
Well, they need. Is there proof of that? Now, I'm not saying they didn't, but like Busby can say a lot of things right now because, like you said, they can't even respond.
Right.
But if there's a paper trail and there's like phone records and that's how this is going to go down. They're going to investigate. Like, his phone's probably been subpoenaed though, right, from before. They would have privy to all of his records that were available. I don't know.
Can you do that in a civil case? Can you subpoena somebody's phone in a civil case?
Dude, I'm going to say this, and I mean this, and anyone from that state can attest. Texas is its own country. I am not familiar with their laws. I've been there. It is not. Just because something's like that here doesn't mean it's like that there. I don't know what the statute is for that. I know that it's a civil case though, so there's way less burden of proof. I do know that. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Timing. There's a lot of peculiar things about this.
Yeah, and we kind of went through all of that last night. That the timing is odd, but at the same time, because I'm not coming down on either side of whether she's telling the truth or not. It certainly is within the outcomes that she's trying to get money, but it's also within the outcomes based on what we know that this actually happened and somebody traumatized by. I mean, this is the first actual sexual assault.
Yeah, battery.
The other one was like sexual misconduct type stuff. This is an actual assault allegation, right?
Well, that's
So
something also I don't understand. Anybody who's read the details, I'm not going to go into them,
yeah,
but it sounded like rape to me. It sounded more than just
yes,
sexual
that
battery. It sounded like there was
that that's what it was. That's what it
unconsensual
was.
sex, and maybe in Texas that's just considered sexual battery, uh, not a
Well,
rape
sexual
charge.
assault, rape, same thing, right? So I'm pretty sure. So well, I don't know. Either way, you want to phrase it. That's what
They're
was
gross and
described.
horrendous accusations.
Yes,
Just
the
terrible.
accusations are disgusting, and so what if someone is traumatized in that way?
Mhm.
I don't know if you watch SVU.
Yeah,
I watch a lot of SVU, or used to when Stabler was on, uh, and you know it, that there's a tendency for victims to
not
want
want
to
to come
wait.
forward to. Yeah,
They have other ways of coping with it. So, I'm not coming down on one side or the other of this thing. The timing is brutal, one day after his performance
mhm,
but, here we are. Now, for some people, this is a beacon of hope, for some Browns fans, like,
mhm.
although we don't wanna speak that way about somebody's tragedy if it is,
No,
that way, but, I mean, in the chat, a couple people wrote, "I'm team Void," right? Like,
yeah, yeah.
people are rooting for him to I
I have a hard time rooting for this to be true. And I
exactly,
can understand
yeah.
not wanting him on your team. I mean, I understand that. I would say to those people, read Jack Duffin's article about
Yep.
what happens post Watson if
Yeah,
they're forced to eat it.
Jack McCurry saying the statute of limitation in Texas for so here's the interesting part, and me and you texted about this. The statute of limitations for now these are civil court rules, so I don't know about, you know, league on the legal side, right?
Mm,
But in civil court, and Florio mentioned this, that he thought we wouldn't hear any more of this because they had passed the 2 years statute of limitations for sexual misconduct, which is what all of his prior stuff was labeled, right?
mhm.
Well, this one suddenly sexual assault raises the statute of limitations to 5 years in Texas in civil court. Now, I don't know about legal court, and I don't know. Uh, they may be, oftentimes, you'll find that the legal side waits to see what comes to light on the civil side before bringing charges, right? So,
Yeah.
or it can go vice versa. So, um, okay. And so he says that is actually 10 years, surprisingly.
Texas
So,
is its own country.
yeah. So it could be criminal at some point. We don't know. Here's the thing that it doesn't need to be criminal for the NFL.
Mm-mm.
Doesn't need to be.
No, but
NFL has already hired the same investigator,
Lisa
um,
Friel.
Lisa Friel. She used to work in sex crimes in Manhattan. She did the original investigation. She is the NFL special counsel for investigations. And I kind of explained this last night. What it's going to come down to is, did he disclose this case, right? He had a chance when he signed the contract with the Browns and with the NFL
Come
when he
clean.
took the
Yeah.
suspension. Everything you come clean for in this sitting, you're covered for. It's like immunity, right? You're immune for everything you write down. Me and Pete both pointed out that Stefanski said in his presser yesterday he had no idea about
Nope.
this one, which I thought was
Yeah, and
very telling.
Stefanski never speaks on things. He would
Nope,
normally just defer to, "We're gonna let the
very
process play
telling.
out," and, you know the rhetoric because we've heard it,
Yep,
but for him to say
yep.
that one sentence, pretty telling.
Thought that was very telling. So yeah, so whether he's saying, and even Deshaun said he had no idea about this, in his thing, in his
Mhm.
press conference. And
Yeah.
Busby wrote, he knows very well about this accusation, when it happened, who it is, because of the heightened nature of it, right? Of the accusation. So we'll see. It'll shake itself out. They'll investigate. But if he did not disclose this, NFL may suspend him. And then at that point,
It triggers everything
anything
else.
could happen.
Dominoes.
Anything could happen.
It's dominoes at that point.
And if you are of the opinion that you don't want to see Deshaun Watson here anymore, that is in the range of outcomes here.
Yeah, for sure.
And yeah, there's a non-zero chance for sure that happens. There's also in the range of outcomes that he nothing comes of this, and he proceeds onward without anything happening to him. My question to you as we turn towards football, how's he supposed to get ready for this game this week with this going on? Because all indications to me up to this point, so like Kobe Bryant back in the day,
yeah,
R.I.P., right? He was put in a situation like this, which later kind of came out that was pretty much, as some of the chat is pointing out, a money grab, or an attempted money grab. She was pretty much defrauded, right? So, but at the time, he was accused of rape.
Yeah,
and he has where he is wired different. He was going out and putting up 40 a night on the court, dominating, and then going and dealing with this stuff in the day. So I wonder, I don't think Deshaun's wired that way.
Wouldn't appear so. Yeah, I don't know how you put the blinders on and block out all the outside noise when the outside noise is that serious. Now, this is like, because of the bad play and because of these accusations, it's kind of got lost in the shuffle. The man lost a family member directly before, like 2 days before the game, so that how do you compartmentalize that, and this, I don't think you can block it out. I don't think you can. How do you navigate? How do you cope? How do you put your best foot forward? Like, those are all things I don't know. And so, based on what we saw on Sunday.
Yeah, go ahead. Based on what you saw on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel hopeful. I don't feel hopeful that it's like, like we can all think back to Brett Favre losing his dad, right? Everybody remembers that Monday Night Football game, and as much as he played his heart out, his receivers played out for him and were making ridiculous catches, and there was that moment, like, and he broke down mentally. You could tell it was really weighing on him. You know what I mean? I don't know how someone perseveres in that moment. And that's with that, so he had that happen. And I don't know how much that affected him during the game. I don't know how this, on the heels of that, wouldn't be just a cloud over you at all times. I don't know. I'll say this, and we just to talk about football, because I want to talk about football.
Yeah.
What his performance on Sunday was probably his worst as a Cleveland Brown.
It was.
But it's close. Well, it's close. If you look at the Pittsburgh game week 2 last year, I think that's something to bring up. He threw for 55% completion percentage. He threw for 235 yards, had a touchdown, but he had 3 turnovers. 2 of them were defensive touchdowns. That's a pretty damning effort, right?
Yes.
Think about what he did the next week. The next week was Tennessee.
Yeah.
He threw for 82% completion percentage, 269 yards, 2 scores, quarterback rating of like 123.
Yeah.
Can he repeat that? Can he have that kind of a bounce back game in Jacksonville?
I hope so. My concern is, at that time, this was not being thrust upon him.
Nope.
So I was looking for there was something he said in his presser, and I'm just kind of scouring through the transcript real quick here because I was looking for it, and then I want to go to what Fastest Fat Man said, and then we'll get off this topic.
Gotcha.
But he said something to the effect of like, getting on the field, you know, you focus on that, and that's all I can do, or something to that effect. But the way he phrased it, it was like I wanted to be like, well, honestly, man, every quarterback in the league is focusing on Sunday 24/7,
Yeah, not just when you're on the field. And
not just when you're on the
yep,
field,
yep.
which is a big thing. All right, so Fastest Fat Man makes a great point here. Brad and Casey, and this is what we were kind of talking about, and I compared it to like king for a day or queen for a day, when you're in a prosecution, say like a RICO case, right? And
Mhm.
there's a bunch of criminals involved, and they'll often offer um someone involved in the case, but not the target of the prosecution, queen for a day. And they get to go in an office, sit in front of a prosecutor, and admit to anything they want because it's just an information gathering
Mhm.
process, right? And anything they admit in that 24 hours to the prosecutor, they are immune from, cannot be charged, whatever. But if they leave something out, and it
Coming for
comes
you.
up later, they're
Yep.
coming for you.
Mhm.
So, world's fastest fat man, hey, Brad and Casey wanted to hop on real quick and mention that the NFL's conduct policy covers all similar actions in one event. As such, if the NFL knew about about it, there would
Mhm.
not be an investigation. And I think that's true. I
Yep.
think that
I
if
think that's
they
very telling.
knew about it, it was written down and it was kind of
Mhm.
umbrellaed under the other charges, I don't think Lisa Friel would be involved at this point.
For the second time. Yeah, and I also think that even if he had disclosed something, but it comes back that it was something more because his other actions were not sexual assault.
Correct.
I think that takes no matter what that would be like. You didn't say you did that because we wouldn't be having this discussion now. The book would have
Yep.
been thrown at him at that point.
Yep. So great point from World's Fastest Fat Man, and I agree. I think that that's that, and I just think I just worry about his ability to focus on. I didn't think he did. Pete agreed with you last night. I thought that he struggled through that press conference. I thought he appeared shaky at one point. I thought he was on the verge of tears. Um, I, I I thought he seemed a mess a little bit. Certainly, some of those, he didn't shy away, but I mean, he's kind of gone through the training of how to handle
Yeah,
this, as you
yeah,
pointed out.
yeah.
So
It's not something you want to be experienced in. By the way, it's not a good thing. Yeah.
the Browns have Stephen asking the Browns have a psychologist on set. I'm sure they do, and I'm sure that he is already in. Yeah, and he's already seeing a cycle. I think it was part of his original
Was.
discipline. So,
Yep.
all right. Other things going on here with the Browns as we look to bounce back in week 2 against Jacksonville. So, um, some shake up. I can't. What is it going to stop with the injuries, Doug? When is it going to stop with the injuries?
I don't know. I feel like it's just shifted to the other side of the ball. I feel like we went with we had some injuries on defense, but it wasn't like the offense. The offense was just ravaged, and now it feels like it's taking its toll. It's running through the defensive rooms now.
Thornhill, Hurst, Diabate, Fields
Mhm.
yesterday, all to the IR, and then today, my guy Miles Harden,
Yep.
IR.
Yep. Five defensive players IR'd.
And then they brought up Mike Ford.
Hmm.
They brought up, who else did they bring up? They called backup David Bell. Sam Kamara gets
Mhm.
a 1-year deal to come up on the roster, right? And there was somebody else. Oh, this Khalid Kalake Hudson, linebacker from New Orleans.
The
He said
Saints, yeah.
he played last week, I guess.
I,
Uh,
I know nothing of this man.
yeah.
He
Uh,
rolls for all I
but
know.
yeah, so we'll see there. But he's already on the 53 after just being in here for a day. That's how
Mhm.
quickly that happened. And they've also brought in onto the practice squad a bevy of new players. Jeff Swaim is an
Mhm.
experienced tight end in the league, like 10 years, right? And then Siaka Ika is found. You can take him off your milk carton. He's been found, right?
Yeah.
He showed up
The day is
on.
saved.
He's been saved. He's on the practice squad. And Kadarius Toney.
Yep. Yep.
How about that
Chaos
one?
Tony. Yeah.
And here's his picture of him. The picture I could find of him at practice. He looks interested,
Yeah, doesn't he though?
right? He
Yeah.
looks
Yeah.
interested. Uh, what do you think of the Kadarius Toney signing?
I mean, it's Antonio Callaway part two. I don't know. This kid super talented. I don't think anyone could deny Tony's talented, but like I don't know what kind of work he puts into his craft. I don't think there's any meticulous studying that's going on. Just look at the actions of Kansas City, and if Kansas City can't find a spot for you with all that talent, it's pretty damning. But this is the type. This is AB's wheelhouse, right? Former first round pick, high talent profile, low risk. If he's on your practice squad. But that is a guy that like you could bring up to be a kick returner. You could definitely bring that kid up to be a kick returner. Um, I don't know if it'll bear any fruit or if he'll even be active for a game. We'll see how long he sticks around. He's going to put in the work though.
Jet sweeps, man.
I love jet sweeps too. Love him. Yeah, he's such a high chaos factor player, man.
Yeah.
He played in the Super Bowl 2 years ago and played 3 plays, scored a touchdown, almost scored another one in 3 plays. Like he's something else.
I love that attitude, Jay. All right. So yesterday, Stefanski took the podium, said that Conklin and Wills were going to practice, and guess what? Wills did not practice.
Yeah, he said that. We'll both be out there today. And I saw a big fat DNP next to my man here.
DNP. And then today, though, however,
Look at him.
Look at him. Look at him.
They got him out on the field. He looks all happy to be there. He looks more interested in Kadarius. I'll say that.
And he does. He did practice today, Case.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
sure did.
And Conklin. Any chance either of these jabronis suits up on Sunday?
Oh, I have so much more faith in Conklin than Wills. We got to see Wills back-to-back days. It just has to happen. And unfortunately, I feel like he's just ramping up. We're still in the ramping up process. So,
what was Hudson? Did you see Hudson's PFF grade?
No. He gave up officially 6 pressures in pass pro.
See, I went back and watched y'all 22, and I didn't think he was as bad as I thought he would be.
Yeah, same. But that's also we also expected so little. Like we had lowered our expectations so much. You know, the thing about him that's puzzling is he's a decent run blocker, man. He can run block. Going forward, he's fine. It's going backwards and lateral. Those movements, they're just, he's a mauler. Like the reason I don't know why he's not a guard. I think he'd be a good guard. I think he'd be fine at being a guard. But yeah, I think he gave up 6. I think Joel gave up 5 pressures and Pochich 6, I believe.
So his overall grade was a 66.8, which is not terrible.
Look, man, that's drawn Christian, right? That's what we were winning with last year. Was that
70 Yeah, run block 77.6. That's good.
You can run block, man.
Pass block 56.1.
Yeah.
Gave up 4 QB hits, 2 hurries, 6 pressures.
Yeah.
1
Yeah,
penalty.
but if you had asked me before the game what would his pass blocking grade be, give me an over under of 50, I might have taken the under. So I think he performed better than what I expected.
So for comparison's sake, his whole 2023 overall grade was 46.
Yeah.
57 and 22, 57 and 21. That's mostly at right tackle.
Yeah.
And his pass blocking grades were in the low 50s and low 40s. So 56 is better than normal for him.
Balling out.
I wouldn't say that, but
for him, he's balling out.
But I mean, for a guy, I mean, I've been awfully hard on him.
I think we all have collectively.
And I thought he was better than. Yeah. I also did see. You guys were talking about how bad DeWand was, and I don't think he was great. But I also did see a breakdown today of him on Twitter. Every snap with him going against Parsons, I don't think he got beat once.
No, pass blocking. I mean, dude, he's a wall.
Nobody can get around him.
No, I don't know what it's going to take for him to put together the running aspect, though. I don't know what that's going to take.
Yeah. As a group, they failed.
For sure.
Miscommunications. How about Parsons running right across Teller's face or Batonio's face on that one play?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. It was just rough.
That was the roughest game from Joel that I've seen in pass pro. In
Joel
memory,
gave up 5 or 6, didn't he?
Yeah, in memory. I don't remember him being that leaky in pass before. He was good. He was a good run blocker still, but yeah, man. Yeah, I'm not happy about the offensive line, and they're being paid like the best unit in the league, and they're, that's the thing that's the most disheartening is that performance we saw on offense was from the league's most expensive offense.
Yep,
that's hard to parse, man.
It is. Well said. Watson. A lot of people calling for him already. Where was Deontay Foreman?
It's a great question. I seen him get in once, and they didn't run it. I don't know how many snaps he logged total, but I saw him one time, and he did not touch the ball.
I would have liked to have seen him get a couple touches, just because.
A couple series. Just give him you have to have a change of pace. Like even when it was Nick Chubb, Nick wasn't playing 100% of the snaps, even though he was infinitely better than whoever was getting reps when he wasn't in. But you need that change of pace. You need to do that for the defense, man. It changes everything, especially at that position. So to take someone like Ford, give him 2-3 series, and then give Foreman a series. You know what I mean? After they've seen Ford for a little while, that's a good change of pace and a different style, and you can be more creative with your play calls. I don't get it. Is he more injured than we know? That'd be my question. Is he more injured than we know he is?
I guess, but why even have him active then?
$1 million question.
I mean, you got to give him. He at least will get downhill. Like, okay, when I went back and watched, and Ford didn't have a bad game, but I don't think he had a great game either because there was some creases there. He just doesn't go sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes he just stops, doesn't he? Like a couple times I'm like, there's a crease there, man. Just go forward. Get the 4 yards or whatever, right?
Just fall forward.
Or just go through the crease and fall forward. Foreman will do that.
Undoubtedly, that is what he does. He falls for it. He's here's the thing, man. We saw what we saw. We cannot, this offense where it's at right now with the quarterback they have, cannot afford to be in obvious passing downs. You got to keep it as 50-50 as possible.
Yeah.
And the easiest way to do that is run efficiency early in downs. And when your quarterback's completing 53% of his passes, you can't throw in first down because you're going to be right back at 2nd and 10 in that situation. So it's about getting that guy who's going to get you 3 or 4. It didn't have to be monumental, man, but you got to start seeing 2nd and 7, 2nd and 6, 3rd and 4 less. Because right now, Brad, 3rd and 8 is a death sentence for this team.
Is. I had the stat somewhere. So 3rd and long in the NFL is like 3rd and 7 or longer or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They were in 3rd and 7 or longer over 46% of the time.
Yeah.
That's just that you're not going to find offensive success that way. You're just not going to do it.
Yeah. And then it bleeds over to the defense because if you look at that first half, they had 7 possessions. They had 5 3-and-outs, 1 interception, and a field goal. 5 3-and-outs, man. You got it. Even if I'm only picking up 1 or 2 first downs this time, but that, like the Browns defense was on the field for 19 minutes and 56 seconds of the first half. Like I know they're going to have to do the heavy lifting, but you got to be part of your own rescue. They can't be all of them. You know what I mean? You got to give them something. And that something doesn't even have to be points all the time. It could just be like 5 minutes of breather. You know what I mean? You got it on yourself.
Couple first downs. Yeah.
That's all I'm asking. I'm not asking for the world. But when you've had 1 first down at the end of the first half, man, that's as anemic as possible.
Yeah. I would say that I'm still very confident in the defense. I am. I'm not. Although with Hurst dinged and Tomlinson what appeared to be on some kind of a snap count.
Yeah.
I do worry a little bit about the run coming into this week, but I think that they'll have a plan for it. I think the defense is going to be just fine. Ultimately.
I do too. Yeah. Every mistake that I saw the defense makes a correctable one. It wasn't like they have the people there to get everything done. I'm not worried about them long term. I am curious to see what it looks like their first road game. We know what their road issues were last year. What steps have they done to correct that? Because they're going to have to be the life force of this team. They're going to I think they know what they're up against because of their offense. So you got to keep it tight.
Brad loves Strong. Brad has a strong jersey. Listen, I actually liked Strong when we first got him because he just went north and south and he's got some speed. I don't dislike him. He's not a guy I want running between the tackles.
He's a guy that I'd like to see in the screen game. I would like to see a screen game, but if we're going to run it, I'd like to see him.
How about zero? Did they run a screen all day? Maybe a tight end screen once or twice, right?
Yeah. They used. I don't know how the exact number, but it wasn't what it should have been. When you have pass rushers pinning their ears back like that, you have to find a way to keep them at bay. And if you can't do it through blocking them, you're going to have to run screens, run draws, keep them as honest as possible because they were flat out hunting on Sunday.
Those helmets remind me of the movie Attack from Mars. So I got sidebar for a second here, right? Yeah, the movie Attack from Mars, worst movie I've ever seen in my entire life. Ooh. Hands down.
Okay.
Never. It's the absolute worst. Have you seen it?
Yeah, man.
It's got like an all-star cast.
Yeah.
It's got like one of the best casts ever, right?
Yeah.
But it was the dumbest, most pointless, stupidest movie I've ever seen in my entire life. Do you disagree?
I mean, I have movies that I like less than that, but I'm not stumping over here for Attack from Mars. It was dumb. Jack terrible. Black was in it. I haven't. Last time I seen it was probably on TNT in like 2000. It's probably been a quarter of a century since I've watched Attack from Mars. I couldn't stand the way that they talked. I couldn't do it. Like, I didn't see it in theaters. It wasn't one of those movies for me. So.
Yeah. Enthusiasm and energy was not there. I guess I felt like it diminished. I don't know. It's not like I don't think they didn't play hard, but I would agree that maybe like the energy for a week one game or enthusiasm was lacking. They did kind of get punched in the mouth though,
They did. They
and
did.
they did not respond properly. But part of that for me is on 4. I mean, I don't know. Sharknado. Ever seen Sharknado?
I have not, man. I have not.
I would imagine that is probably just as bad. Coneheads earlier today. Do you like Coneheads?
Didn't. I never watched it.
Me neither.
Never watched it. And I've seen thousands and thousands of movies. Before I moved down here, I ran a movie theater for a great number of years. I've seen so many movies, good and bad, the great and the terrible. But
Right,
no,
sorry
never
about that sidebar about Mars attacks, but
Jack Nicholson.
Oh my God, great cast, unbelievable cast. Michael J. Fox, right? Wasn't he in that?
Who was it?
Michael J. Fox.
Maybe I do this been since 2000. And that might be wrong. It might be before then. I think it was on TNT last time I watched it.
Yeah, it was. It was pointless. Waste of time. Jim Brown was in Mars Attacks.
I do believe that is true. I do believe that is true. I think he fights him.
Yeah. Well, we can bring up the IMBD here if we really want to.
I know Jack Black was in it before he was famous.
I wonder what with the here 1996. So what was I better pause this before I put it up so we don't get a copyright violation here. Yep, Michael J. Fox. So there he is. All right, I'll bring this up here real quick. Let's take a quick sidebar here to examine this. Why don't we?
So you think it's definitely in the running for worst movie with the best cast?
I think it's the worst movie ever and the worst movie ever with the best cast. I think both. I think it qualifies for both. 6.4 out of 10. That's terrible. IMBD, you deserve to be fired.
Yeah, but sometimes people like bad movies, man. It's like a comfort thing, like just a bad movie, and they plenty of people like bad movies.
Jack Nicholson, Glenn Close. My aunt is a dead ringer for Glenn Close.
Oh, there we go.
Annette Bening. What's that say? Pierce Brosnan, Danny DeVito, Michael J. Fox. I mean, hold on. Tim Burton directed it.
Really?
Yeah.
I used to love his movies.
Here we go. Martin Short, Sarah Jessica Parker, Michael J. Fox, Natalie Portman was in it. Jim Brown was in it.
Jack Black, there he is.
Paul Winfield.
Yeah.
Jack Black.
Christina
Applegate.
Well, she played a big role in the 90s for me.
For real. I think she's sick or something.
She is. I don't want to speak exactly what she has, but she definitely has an ailment and is not doing well.
Yeah, it sucks. Like her. Funny.
Yeah, Kelly Bundy. Come on now.
Yeah. Yep. But I mean, this you got to admit that's a cast.
So I will come to you next week with my offering for what I believe the worst movie with the best cast is. And this might end up being it. I'll have to peruse here and.
I wanted to see. I mean, does anybody else? I always wondered after I watched it, does anybody else feel this way about this movie? Hate it as much as I do?
Yeah.
Because 6.4 out of 10 is ridiculous. Oh, better stop that.
You better, buddy. They'll boot us right off.
Yeah. So I mean, look at this.
Mhm.
That's the trailer poster. Come on now. How can you take something like that seriously? Anyways, back to football. I guess some people liked it.
We have to, Brad.
Do we have to go back to football?
I can sit here and talk movies.
All right. Yeah, wasn't a fan. It was terrible. Yeah. So, and that's my opinion. Oh, look at all that. Look at all the. Was it a silent movie? No, it was not silent. I wish it was, Jeff. And let's see what else here. We got some other candidates thrown into the mix here. Giant rabbits take over a town and kill all. What movie are you guys? Night of the Lepus.
Not
The
familiar.
Lepus?
Not familiar.
Not familiar with that one, but
Man.
sounds pretty bad. All right. Anyways, so what did you think of the wide? You watched the all-22. What did you think of the wide receiver stuff?
I wasn't a fan of the game plan early on. They actually got in a better groove midway through the second quarter on, and the receivers actually started getting separation. But by that time, it was too late because my guy was gunshot. Like, you know what I mean? He was just eyes down, scrambling for fake pressure, real pressure. It didn't matter. So if there's guys running, just getting cardio. But I don't know. It's so wide receiver is such a hard position to grade when the quarterback's playing at that level. It's like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they're doing, you know?
Yeah. Steven says, what a statement to the Browns' futility when we're discussing bad movies. Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully we don't have to do that next week.
Yeah, right. I mean, we got to bring some levity to the situation. You know, there's other things to talk about in this world. Okay, so let's go on here. We talked about this guy.
Yeah.
Nice picture they put up on the site here, though.
What is that about, man? And it's just funny because, like, and I'm not taking credit. It was a Randy Gurzy said it is like they announced that Kadarius wouldn't be practicing, and Randy was like, he fits in with this roster already, just showing up hurt, not even ready to go.
Casey wrote a great article today that didn't have anything to do with Watson.
I haven't written anything to do with Watson at all this week. I've read several articles, and nothing's had anything to do with Watson. I was so thankful when I asked because Sunday was a later game, obviously, and I got to be up for work at like 4 a.m, so I couldn't do anything Sunday night. So I circled back, and I was like, on Monday, I was like, Pete, what do you need? He's like, how about something defensive? I was like, thank Jesus. Yeah. I will gladly write about the defense. The one that came out today was a matchup piece.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna get. That's what we want to talk about next.
Let's go.
I'm coming to you as we're gonna bring up for some analysis on this game. But just since we all need it kind of right now in our lives, we just kind of need it in our lives right now.
Let's go.
I just felt like
let's go. Yeah,
it had to be done tonight. Just to make you feel a little bit better. So that one's from my heart to your guys. Small hands, big dreams. Just so you know, that's the name of my fantasy team, and this is the picture I used. So, small hands, big dreams. There it is. I hope you guys feel better after that.
And all was right in the world.
There. Just take it. Just breathe it in for a minute, and you'll all feel better when we walk away from this tonight. Thinking about the Pittsburgh Steelers marketing team laughing hysterically as they zoom in on Kenny Pickett's enormous Guardian helmet in his tiny little baby hands holding the football. You can feel so much better. And
simpler times.
Sleep so much better tonight after you saw this. Okay, there we go. That we all needed that. All right. Let's talk Jaguars. So the Jags played a relatively good football game. They had a good Dolphins team beat who are going to start here in about 25 minutes or to a half hour in a very good game tonight against the Bills. They had them beat, man. They had them beat, right?
They did. And if ETN doesn't fumble, they probably win that game.
Yes.
Literally running in Ernest Biner style, just got it popped out right as he's about to cross. So, yeah, they were close. And then they're on the road, too, I mean, I know it's still within the same state, but, it's a road game. And you have a team who many people consider to be one of the better teams in the AFC. And the Jags are still trying to prove themselves. I will say this, man. I like a lot of the pieces on Jacksonville's team.
I know you do.
They're not the composite. They're, their first-year defensive coordinator. They haven't put it together. They're still trying to figure out who they are on offense, but I like the pieces, and you can see where it could go. If I were to Achilles heel this team, their offensive line, they need help there. Their right tackle's awesome. Everything else, it's makeshift. So that's what limits them, in my opinion. I love their wide receiver core. I like Bigsby. I like Tank Bigsby.
You do like their wide receiver core. I like Thomas as a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a fan of Gabe Davis. And
He's
Christian Kirk is just kind of...
He's a perfect piece, man.
You changed your tune on him then, because
he's a piece. No. People were wanting to go get him to solve a problem. He's not going to solve a problem. He's a piece. He's like third or fourth fiddle there. That's a piece. Like we say this sentence when we talk about what we say about wide receiver rooms. What do you want to do?
Basketball team.
Boom! Look at it. Look, that's exactly what they got there. Because you have to include Evan Ingram because he's listed as a tight end. My guy doesn't line up with his hand in the dirt. He's a power slot. And you got Parker Washington as their point guard, the guy who'll play the least, scored a touchdown against us last year. But that's just once they move on from Kirk, he'll become their slot. Christian Kirk, shooting guard, going to inside-outside versatility, a vertical slot. That's something to keep in mind here with this team. He's not there just running dink and dunks. He's trying to gash it. He only had one catch last week for 30 yards. Then you look at their small forward, and that's the guy to be excited about because he could be a superstar. Brian Thomas Jr.
Sure.
My guy went at Jalen Ramsey last week. Went at him. Jawing.
That touchdown was he made the perfect read on that touchdown.
The first time they threw to him was a 41-yard bomb that he drew a PI on Jalen in the end zone that set up a 1-yard touchdown from ETN. He got behind Ramsey. I didn't know what Thomas would be at the next level because what he was asked to do at LSU, he was basically just their deep threat. And they had neighbors doing you know what I mean? His route tree was nice. I watched all of his reps. He's someone I think could be a superstar for them. He has that he carries himself in that way. Anytime you're going up against Jalen Ramsey and you're jawing at him as a rookie, I'm going to take notice, and then you got their power, then Gabe Davis being their power forward guy. Just a vertical, a boundary guy, 6'2", 225. He's not going to see a ton of targets. He caught all three of his last week for 62 yards. I think that's who he's going to be for them. Just catch a couple chunkers. And then you got Evan Ingram, man. Evan Ingram's caught 114 balls last year on 143 targets. Now, he went off against us. If you recall, he had 11 for 95.
Huge game against us, yeah.
That's not what he does. He's a chain mover. He had 114 catches and didn't break 1,000. He's a chain mover for them. But he operates in that power slot, man, and that's just such a growing need in this league. You're seeing a lot of people going for it. And what they'll do is they'll come out in 4 wide receiver sets, and they'll have Kirk on one side as the slot, and then Ingram on the other side, and give their guys space on the edge. And if they catch you in man, they'll take their running back, if it's ETN, and they'll motion him out and go 5 wide and spread everything out. At that point, they're only limited by their shaky offensive line, which against us is a problem. That will be a problem for them. And it was last year, if you think about it. I think we got to him, I want to say 6 sacks. He had 3 turnovers, 2 interceptions, a forced fumble. Or 3 interceptions and a forced fumble. We had 4 turnovers. That's the That's the script. That's exactly what we're trying to do this time. Get to Lawrence and make him make bad decisions.
Lawrence passed for 162 and a touchdown, 0 interceptions for a 97.7 rating last week. He aims for his 4th in a row at home with 0 interceptions. Passed for 257 and 3 TDs in the last meeting with the Browns.
Mm-hmm.
But they got to him.
They did. And but if you remember the game before, they were playing Cincinnati and he busted his ankle. So we thought he was going to be hobbled. He still ran on us. Like, if you remember, like that's the part of his game they don't talk about. He's very mobile, but not like he's going to take it to the house on you, but he'll move the chains.
Yeah.
He's smart in that way.
And he's healthier now, right? So
in theory, yeah. And they didn't have Kirk last time. Kirk got hurt in the Bengals game, so they didn't have Christian Kirk last time we played him.
Yeah, so the last time that he played against the Browns was back in 21, and he had 5 for 75 and a touchdown with Arizona. Brian Thomas Jr. had 4 catches, 47 yards, and a touchdown last week. One of 4 rookies to catch a touchdown.
Yep.
Gabe Davis, 62 receiving yards last week, 5 catches for 68 in his only career game against Cleveland. That was back in 22 with Buffalo. Tank Bigsby led the team with a career-high 73 rushing yards in week 1.
Mm-hmm.
You like this guy. So they split carries even.
Yeah.
12 and 12 between Tank Bigsby and Travis Etienne. If you would have told me that, I would have said no way.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Etienne's starting to fall out of favor. He does give you more as a receiving back, so there'll be a need to keep him in certain sub packages. But like, if they're trying to run the rock, I'd be going to Bigsby.
Yeah, Etienne had 15 receiving yards on 2 catches as well. So what did you think of their offense, though, overall? You think it? I mean,
it's limited by their offensive line, man. It is limited by their offensive line. It's Cam Robinson blocking Myles Garrett. That is disastrous for them.
All offseason, I had Cam Robinson on my cut list because they were talking about starting Walker Little. They went away from that, huh?
Yeah. Yep. But after, I don't know, man. Like, we'll see. That I could see that being a revolving thing for them. But their right tackle, Anton Harrison's good. He's fun to watch. So when they played last year, he held up well against Za'Darius. Za'Darius got a sack, but it was on an inside stunt where he took it on Brandon Scherf. That's where where Z got his sack. That's a huge matchup for me, man, because you already know they're going to roll pocket to the right to get out of Miles's path of destruction. So that's a matchup I'm going to be watching, Z and Anton. I'm excited to watch some of that.
Delpit and Ingram. Right.
Yeah, you have to. And Jay, okay, you could kind of mix and match because we don't know what Thornhill's absence is going to do to the usage of Delpit, if he's going to have to play more in that back end just out of necessity, because you watched the all 22, Delpit was in single high like 70% of the time. They would run split too, and then he would still be up in the box overhang style. But yeah, we don't know what kind of usage Hickman will have and how much faith they have in him run single high back there.
Yeah. Who do you think that'll be? Hickman?
I believe so. And I believe that's what he's best suited to do. I know in the preseason when they played him in as that slot overhang guy. That's not his game, in my opinion. I think he is a free. So I think, but McLeod, see, you can rotate him and McLeod and kind of let them.
Yeah.
Or even if you play 2, just as you can still squeeze Delpit down in the box. I would try to get Delpit on Ingram whenever possible. Delpit got hurt in that game last year that Ingram went off on. I think that's something else to note. That's when he hurt his groin.
That's definitely a point of interest because he needs to be the tight end eraser.
I agree.
And if you can see, like I think that McLeod for me is at times our second best safety. So I want him on the field a lot. But if he can't play that center field role, then then you might have to get Hickman incorporated, right?
Yeah. Yep. And Schwartz wants to run single high. That's what he wants to do. He wants to
Yeah,
let his
play
guys
man.
mug people and play man, play that cover one, and just let his safety roam. And he was comfortable with Thornhill doing it. We'll see how comfortable he is with Hickman doing that full time now.
We talked about it last night. That was actually not Thornhill's fault on that play. It
I
was
know. I'm taking a
Emerson.
beating for saying it, but in the article, I watched that play, Brad. I didn't want to believe whose fault it was. I
Yeah,
watched that play so many times. It's
I know.
just, and Schwartz came out there. They said it wasn't a communication error; it was a technique error. It's like, well, if the technique is checking with the other corners to see what the coverage is, I guess. But
Then it's not. Yeah, I mean they're all pointing up.
yeah. He called, and
They,
well, Thornhill calls it, so it'd be like the center being offsides. Like he's the one who dictated the coverage. So how's he the one that missed the coverage?
yeah, and Emerson missed it. I think my after watching it many times as well, and me and Pete talked about it. My interpretation was Emerson was supposed to be in the deep third,
Yes, that's what I
right?
wrote. That is what I wrote.
Um,
Yeah, if you
so
look Denzel backs
yeah,
it goes Thornhill to Delpa signals to Denzel. Denzel nods, and then Newsom looks over to Emerson. And here's the thing: we don't know. We don't know what the side adjustment was when they came out of the huddle to cause them to
yeah,
change that. But Emerson might not have saw the side adjustment and didn't even think to look for a check
yeah,
because he thought he was doing the right thing. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So maybe the check was wrong, but regardless, you all have to be on the same page.
You have to
So when
do
the
it
check's
anyway.
called, you got to do what the check is because then it just became an open void, and then all Dak had to do was throw to the void.
And at
How's
the
it played by
same
Dak though?
time,
How's it played
yeah,
by Dak?
it was a great play. And but at the same time too, while it wasn't his fault because he missed the check or whatever, and he should have been in the deep third. I am curious where the hell uh on that play it was like where is Thornhill going?
Why is he
Is he
getting sucked
going?
over to the side there in the flats?
Is he going to the short flat? I think he was,
Yeah, I do. That's
or
what I think.
or
You can see his eyes because as soon as the ball goes up, he looks over to see Emerson, and that's what you can kind of see him like.
yeah,
And then he even like as soon as the play's over, you see him look at Delp, and he's like, "We did this, right?" And they're like, "Yeah, we did that."
yeah. And
It's
he's
like,
like,
okay,
oh shit,
that
yeah,
sucks. That sucks. And then but they had multiple communication issues in that game. There's a third and short where the Cowboys run a quarterback sneak where
yep,
Delpa wasn't where he was supposed to be. You can see the franticness in everybody trying to figure out who's not where they're supposed to be.
yeah,
Got to get through that. But we talked about this. If we're like they got to implement this changeup, this is part of the changeup, having these checks and being able to adjust. And it might take more time than we were thinking it was going to take. I'll also say this: the TV copy looks 100% like it was Thornhill, right? So
yeah,
that's going to be the
yeah.
general consensus because that's what they saw in the TV copy. You won't see
It,
what we're talking about unless you see the all 22. And I'm not here to tape shame anyone. Like
no,
if you don't want to go back and watch that game, you're probably smarter for it. Like,
yeah. But I will say this though, his awareness still. All he had to do was glance in the backfield, and he would have seen the ball coming out.
yep,
So while it wasn't, it wasn't his fault technically. His awareness to look at the quarterback or glance that way, especially because there was really nobody in the flat at that point.
nope.
So why are you rushing up there, right? Like, just glance at the quarterback's eyes. I mean, if he looks up, he might have a pick.
Well, and you also know the play call. You know it's zero blitz. You know that he's going to have to get rid of it. It's hot potato.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
That's probably why his head was down. But yeah, but yeah. So
Frustrating.
kind of a very frustrating play.
Also, a ballsy call by Schwartz on that third down.
I don't really know. I don't get that one either, really.
Ballsy.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. I like the ballsy call, but like, I don't know if it was necessary at that point. Like, I feel like you could have just got off the field there, and you would have been much better for it.
Yeah, I mean,
Instead of
Aubrey, knowing what we know,
0.
Aubrey's going to make that, but I'll take 3/7 every day of the week. So,
Yeah. Charles here saying Hickman got burned in the preseason on. I think he's talking about the slot fade.
The slot fade, but they all did. They've all been burned on that in the preseason. But that's also that he's not going to be there. like,
Yeah, he shouldn't be covering anybody in man out of the slot, anyways. So
no, hey,
um,
him. I like him backed up looking at the ball. I like the things I saw from him last year in that scenario. I think that's what he's going to be doing as a pro player. I don't know if they were just trying to cross train him, and that's why he was in that situation.
yeah,
But I also don't know, like, because everyone got burned on the slot fade during preseason. Like,
yeah,
that was a go-to staple for other teams on us. So it's something we might want to look at.
yeah. And the Browns did a lot of putting guys in situations that they aren't going to be in the preseason just to test them. So that was one of them, I thought, for sure.
And
They
I was because
certainly,
Green Bay starters, and you got him playing. Yeah,
they certainly. So let's look at You're watching All Eyes on Cleveland. A lot of you here tonight. We appreciate it. Go ahead and hit like and subscribe if you have a second. And if you're watching over on X, hop on over to youtube.com/Orange and Brown Report. Give us some love. Just a little tappy tap on the like button, subscribe, notification bell, so you know every time we go live, because we got shows, multiple shows early in the week, and then we got programming 5 nights a week. I think we're pumping out 7 shows a week. A Legends pod. If you go to the podcast page, there's even more stuff. So just keep it locked at the OBR. Read everything that we're putting out as well. But let's go to the defensive side of the ball. You like this defense, right, Case?
Look at their edge rushers, man. They had 27 sacks combined last year. You got 17 out of Josh Hines-Allen and 10 out of Travon Walker. Now, Walker's former number 1 overall pick, kind of a head scratcher. In that first year, he didn't do anything. Really came alive. He's an edge rusher, comes out of a 4-point stance. Not something you see all the time.
No.
But then they went and signed Eric Armstead. Now, Eric Armstead, he's listed as a DN. He'll play DN. He will also play a ton of defensive tackle. And they like on obvious passing downs, they like to put him in as a defensive tackle. And he is a bully. That man is a bully. Interesting.
Has he always kind of played on the inside?
Yeah, but sometimes it'd be a 3-4 scheme. So your defensive end is kind of a defensive tackle type thing. But he plays edge. They played him. There were drives, Brad, where he would play 1 tech, 3 tech, and 5 tech in the same drive.
Yeah.
So he's just a matchup piece for them because they have stud pass rushers on the edge. That is a strength of this defense. I like their linebackers. I like Olakun. I like Devin Lloyd. Their cornerbacks are suspect. I'm putting that mildly. And then they just lost their best cornerback, Tyson Campbell. He's on the IR. So now Monteric Brown, I believe his name is going to be the guy out there. And that's, in my opinion, that's the weak spot of that team. Their safeties are good. Cisco's good. Darnell Savage, he's there to delp it. He'll hang out in the box. He's really nasty against tight ends as well.
They like this Jones kid a lot, don't they?
Yeah, they do. You know, he was Jerry Jones was a tremendous nickel for Florida State. Tremendous. Yeah. He was on my list just because I knew we might look for that position. So I checked him out. I liked his teammate better, but yeah, they're there. Yeah.
So you like the linebackers, you like the edge rushers.
I do.
Devon Hamilton,
space eater. I mean, you know, he's not going to put up stats, but he's a space eater. Their front's good, man. They're good. I still think that they're the first year in a defensive coordinator. They're still they don't match the whole yet, but they have pieces, man. They definitely have pieces. And if you have trouble with offensive tackle, you're going to have trouble against the Jaguars pass rush.
Yeah. Sorry, did I break up there? Can you hear me?
No, I can hear you.
Okay. But yeah, so statistically last week, Walker 2 sacks, 1 tackle for loss. Armstead 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss. Darnell Savage 2 pass defense, Darby 1.
Yeah, and Savage didn't even rack a tackle up, but he broke up so many passes and like impact plays where
Yep.
I don't know, man, he's fun to watch. Number 6, if you get a chance, Savage, and he came from Green Bay, and I really don't remember him at Green Bay.
I do
Former first-round pick.
vaguely. Yeah. You like Cisco, you said?
Yeah, I think he's fine. Like I mean,
Antonio Johnson?
the strength is the front end of this defense, but I like some of their pieces on the back end. I think their corners are not good. I wouldn't, but we couldn't take advantage of that last week. So we got to start from the front. We got to beat them first. So that's for me. That's the game is the line of scrimmage, man.
Deshaun Gibson suspended 6 games for PEDs. We mentioned last week. Tyson Campbell, you mentioned, is on the IR.
By far the best cornerback.
Yeah, I loved him coming out of the draft. He's one of those guys, SEC guys, in your face. I liked him a lot. But yeah, so that's the breakdown there. I mean, compared to the Cowboys, it's a lesser unit, right?
Overall, for sure. Yes. Yeah. But it's not so much of a downgrade. Like if you played the way you played last weekend, this is trouble. You know what I mean? Like you got to raise your level to play these guys. I think Josh Hines-Allen, it could be a top 5 edge.
Really?
And there's the other thing too is skewed. Like, well, they didn't pressure Miami. You ever watch Miami play? That ball's out. That ball it's horizontal too. You don't even have to step. It's just hitch there, and it's hard to pressure Tua. They don't let him hold on to the football. Yeah. So the fact that someone got home twice and then Armstead got one, that's when we'll play them. You'll see they're not there to let your edge rushers wreck them.
Good stuff, Case. Yeah. So. Listen, the Jags are a weird team overall.
Agree.
You know, it's hard to really pin down year to year what they're going to be, right? Like they had that hot run late in the postseason one year.
That's exactly the point, though. So 2 years ago, they started off god awful, caught fire at the end. Last year, they started off on fire and then turned awful. It's just Jekyll and Hyde. Like, I don't know who this team is.
Yeah, exactly. Charles says it's what's the over under 41.5. I'll take the over on that probably. I think
Cowboys didn't hit the over by themselves last week.
Yeah, they did. But I mean, okay, so how do the Browns win this game, Case? How do the Browns win this game? I mean, like, you know, obviously you got to throw out week 1. It was dog shit. We all know it on offense, especially. Obviously, there's some things to learn from on defense. There's some things to learn from on offense. But offensively, it was inept. The penalties were excessive. You played from behind. We talked about it all week. You can't play from behind the chains. You know, you can't put yourself in third and pass, and they did it all day. The offensive line did not play well, and Watson just compounded that with a poor game. So if you're running the offense this week, okay, what are you doing?
First things first. We're getting out of the huddle into the line of scrimmage with at least 10 seconds on that play clock so we can do a shift here or there or run a little bit of motion, get some sort of pre-snap indicator to give him a pre-snap photograph of what's going on so he's not trying to figure everything out after the ball snapped. For me, that's a huge problem.
100%. Wrote about it in Things I Think I Know. They were dead last after this offseason where you bring in Nick Charlton, Tommy Reese. Guys that have specialized at the college level, especially Charlton specifically, in window dressing. And I was expecting like maybe an orbit motion here or there or this, just like, just to flatten out the linebackers a little, right? Even flatten out the linebackers, run somebody in motion and run them back. Just it doesn't have to be crazy stuff where you're asking for you're complicating the protections, right? Yeah. Like, because I know that's the counter to this, right? Is that you can't trust the offensive line to block as normal, you start going crazy motion stuff. Now, that could trigger blitzes from wherever or whatever, right? And Pete pointed that out. It's a good
And
point.
that's true. But it's also, it's not even on the table for you when you get to the line of scrimmage with 3-4 seconds. That's not even an option anymore. And you don't even have to, it was frustrating because I'm watching all 22 and watching the Cowboys do it where they're motioning him just to motion him back right to where he came from as just an indicator of what you're running. Like that's
man zone. Yep. You know who's with who, where the leverage is, who's in man, who's in zone. Is it split field, right? Like you can identify that by just running a guy out and back, same spot. So, I was on Sports for CLE after last season. We were talking about how they were 31st in the league in pre-snap motion. He was like, Dave, and we both love Dave, but he was like, sometimes you can't just run motion just to run it. And I was like, well, actually, sometimes you just do, because
watch the Dolphins, watch the Rams, watch
it's just you're just looking for any indicator or edge that you can get pre-snap. And with a struggling quarterback,
yes, that's my whole point.
There is things you can do that don't affect the protections and aren't going to trigger blitzes, basic motions, short motion, where guys not even crossing the line of scrimmage, that I saw and was excited about in the preseason. The short motion stuff just to out leverage somebody with the choice routes. Like that stuff I thought would mesh together really well. There was none of it, right? They were dead last in pre-snap motion week 1 in the NFL.
Very disheartening.
It's hard to explain.
Year, I know you go get Dorsey. Dorsey, I think, was 25th when he was in Buffalo in pre-snap motion.
Especially with the direct correlation there is out there between motion and offensive success. I mean, it's a direct correlation. So it's frustrating, man. Super frustrating.
Yep. The first thing I would do.
Yeah. Agreed. What else? Well, you're getting things going.
We all said the obvious stuff. You can't shoot yourself in the foot. You had on offense, you had 5 procedural penalties. But, you're starting at 1st and 15, and then just this offense isn't built like that. You can't get in that kind of deficit. But it's got to be first down efficiency. And now I think this team was actually run blocking decently, man. You're going to lean on it, man. You're going to have to manufacture 2nd and 6. You've got to get to 2nd and 6. And I don't care if that's screen game, quick game, running the ball. First down efficiency is going to determine how long this offense is going to be on the field, because they're not picking up. That'd be a huge step forward. And I don't care if it's 1 out of every 4 series, but you got to get the man in there. You got to do what you can do to manufacture and get the yards you can get that are there to get, and that's what he does. Ford
he's
sometimes
a walking 2nd and 6. Yeah, he's a walking 2nd and 6. He'll get you the 4, right?
That's all I'm asking for. I'm not asking for the world. But you got to stay out of 2nd and 9. This offense could not do that. Not at this current state. I'm not saying they won't. And the thing that was blown, just watching the anemic thing that we watched on Sunday, this offense has to get to a point where they're scoring 28, 30 points. Not every game, but this needs to happen, right?
Yeah.
How does that happen? How do you get from that, can't even operate, 5 3-and-outs and a half, to efficient and putting up 24, 25, 26 points?
Have they just conceded, Casey, that they can't run the ball right now?
It felt like, well, you're also starting at 1st and 15, and then you're not even an option when you start doing that to yourself.
I guess.
They have to, Brad. They have to run the football. We talk about the Miami Dolphins and all the high-flying things and all the motion. They run the shit out of the football.
Yeah.
Like the 49ers, the Rams, these teams run the football, man. Like their passing game comes off of that. And it's a cyclical league. And I get you want to throw in first down, but when your quarterback's completing 53% of his passes, you can't throw in first down, because then you're just at 2nd and 10. And then we're this cycle, you know what I mean? So yeah, they got to figure that out.
Yeah. The one drive to start the first half where Watson looked like he had some rhythm, and
I thought he was hurt, Brad. I thought it was like, did he get hurt? Because when he gets hurt, sometimes he gets on fire and it just goes down the
Yeah.
field.
That's so bad.
I really did.
Yeah. But he looked sharp for a couple minutes.
He did.
Well, I take it back. He sprinkled in a couple of bombs out of the back of the end zone in there too.
Some
And
people
if
got
you
to take
go
home some
back,
game balls, didn't they?
yeah, if you go back and watch that, he wasn't throwing those away. I don't think. It
Yeah.
looked to me like he was trying to throw.
That's sad.
Yeah. So, but here's what you know. Once again, you want to get him easy stuff early. You want to get him like I didn't mind the way they started the game, right? But like you're never going to score if you just stay that way, right? Like so you're going to have to expound upon that quicker in this game than you did on Sunday, right? Like, so yes, he completed his first few passes. He had a nice little check down to Ford. They moved down the ball down the field, kicked a field goal. Next drive, it can't be the same thing. It needs to be okay. We're going to push the ball down the field a little bit now.
Or you just build off the thing that you just did. You know what I
Right.
mean? You can look the
Yes.
same, but then you have to
Be
grow.
different. Yes. And I felt like they just stayed with like, okay, we're going to do this all day. And they just ate that up. And then the penalties and all that just made it impossible because at that point you had no rhythm or anything of pushing the ball down the field and no confidence in that kind of passing game. Now, there were some drops.
Yeah.
There was some, that were impactful. But ultimately, the thing that scares me the most about Watson is like some of the mistakes he made in that game, watching it back, like he's always done that stuff. Okay. It's like he's even in Houston, he did that
He
stuff.
takes sacks. He holds on to the
Hold
football.
on. But he would make the special play to change it, right? Like the special plays outweighed the bad stuff. The
Yeah.
problem is now there's no special
His
play.
eyes come down. Before the chaos would happen, he would even get out, and then all of a sudden his eyes are up. He's scanning the field. He's finding the open guy. His eyes are staying down. When the stuff starts happening, he's down looking for escape routes, and they don't seem to pop back up. And have he didn't have those magical moments because his eyes aren't right, in my opinion. His arm might not be right either. Like you said, there were a couple of times I think he's trying to legitimately make the throw, and it ain't there. It's 3 rows deep. You know what I mean? Like anytime he has to drive the ball, something looks off to me now. That's concerning.
Yeah, that's concerning. That may be more of a touch thing or an adrenaline thing that I'm hoping comes back with
Mhm.
more live play time. Taking 17 hits doesn't help.
No.
It doesn't. But like, here's the thing, guitar saying good news. He should say, I don't know if that's good news or fortunate.
Well,
I don't know what it's good news that he's healthy. Yes, but
that's the one thing I think like if you're going to say anything that he proved that he's tough. But that's never been a question for me is his toughness. I would much rather my quarterback be smart than tough. Tough's great for middle linebackers. Like I need my guy to be smart and not rely on your toughness because that toughness wears out. Your body gives out. He can't survive an entire season. I don't know if you survive to the bye playing that way.
sarcasm. Yeah, I don't think he survives many weeks. You can't take that many hits and continue to survive that way. Which all right. So, but here's the thing, like that. If they freeze,
Yeah, you did. I was going to try to piece
am I
together.
back?
You're back now.
Am I back? All right. So we talked about this when we were texting the other night. Thank you. for telling me. Thank you. Uh, but he doesn't. I don't know if he inspires. Like
Yeah.
his leadership is not outward or whatever, and it's like Jameis
Oozes that.
oozes it,
Yeah.
and just a lot of leaders around the NFL
Mhm.
that were having a bad game. You'll see their teammates try to pick them up. They're
Yeah.
talking to
Yeah.
them, saying this, that, the other. And I don't, Pete got on me last night for reading too much into the body language, but like
It was
you saw
bad.
frustrated receivers, right?
Yeah, Amari looked
And
over it.
Amari, like, and they're not going to him and saying, like, picking him up, right?
Yeah.
Um, but like, if it was like an outward leader like that, where you galvanize the people around you, your team around
Yeah.
you, and they feel like they're in it with you, I feel like you get some of that. Like, I'm going to make a play for my quarterback because he needs it, or I'm going to pick him
Yeah.
up. I'll go talk to him and screw that. You got this, man. And like, yes, they said all the right things this week, which is good because they said all that stuff in the press. But like in the game, I felt like that's just missing, man. It's like,
Here's the way I view that.
I don't know.
He is inspired through playmaking. So in Houston, when the people were in the huddle with him and they're looking at him, they think he's going to make the play. So they follow that. That is like you have this innate feeling that we're going to get this done because he's going to do something. And but when that dries up and he's not making the plays because he's not an outward leader, he's not going to pick you up with his words or just, so what are you following at that point? It's you see there's different leadership styles. You don't
Action.
need to be that, but if you're going to be that type of leader, you have to make the plays. And when that's not there, I don't know what you're working with. And so much of being a quarterback is being a leader of men. Like it's a massive factor.
It is. So that concerns me going forward. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. Yeah, because if he's not making the plays, what are we doing here?
Is there a disconnect in the locker room? I don't know. I'm not going to say yes, but I don't know. I just I'm concerned by the whole thing. Now, on the other side of this, I do think they bounce back and play much better based on what I know about Kevin Stefanski.
Yep.
Kevin Stefanski, typically when this team has ever looked really bad or gotten stomped, has responded in the next week for them, almost through his entire career.
Yeah, not even just openers. And his first year here, they didn't lose back-to-back games.
Yeah.
Second, and then 21 and 22 were kind of weird years because injured quarterbacks, backup quarterbacks. They had two separate losing streaks in each of those seasons. And last year, you only had one, but it was a big one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like because of the quarterback situation.
Yeah.
But yeah, he typically, especially like you said, not just losing game, but looking bad.
Yeah.
The next week they show up. And,
Yeah.
But that's the whole compartmentalize. Win this week. You can't let Dallas beat you in Jacksonville. You know what I mean? So just that ability to go about your job that same way each and every time, win or loss, put that behind you. That doesn't matter. It's who you are this week. That's the approach you have to take.
Well said by Rocky here. Even if you're not a vocal leader, I need my quarterback calm, cool, confident, no matter the situation. Agreed.
Does Stefanski play quarterback? He does not.
Yeah, right. Speaking about calm, cool, confident. Yeah. So I think he can do that. The thing I don't think he lost his composure or anything like that. Is the confidence. Yeah, there you go. It's the confidence that's missing. I think that may be the thing that's missing the most, Casey, is the confidence.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's so hard because how do you get that back when you've been that guy your whole life, and then all of a sudden it's just not there for you?
Beloved.
Yeah, Yeah, everywhere he's been. High school state champion, national champion in college. It's I don't know. I don't know that answer. That's the reason I like the fact they went and got Jameis, because Jameis has been in the same spots. He's been those exact same spots, like number one recruit coming out of high school, national champion, Heisman winner. Like he knows all those pressures and can hopefully like pull that out of you, man.
And come back from reputational hits.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
Follow me. I know the way out. Like, and I just don't know. So yeah, it's tough. The entire offense was bad. I think they will show up and play better, but ultimately, all eyes are going to be on Ford, because even if the offense plays better, he has to be better. There's this overlying. It's so strange. The where the Browns are right now is so strange, right? Like it's hard to even like put into words. So you have the season, the expectations, the quarterback, this talented roster, right? And then overlying it now is like what happens with Ford, because now there's this whole new range of outcomes that could be coming down the road that weren't accounted for when you came into this thing. And then to add to that, like normally those type of punitive stuff from the league and things like that come down hurt a team or whatever, because you want the guy to be on the field.
Yeah.
It's so odd that you're in a situation where you have like people like, maybe this can get him off the field,
Openly
right? Or out,
campaigning.
or like, so and then there's the team who has to play like both sides. Who knows what they're really saying behind closed doors? You know what I mean? It's just it's taken a situation and complicated it so much more, right? Yeah. Chris Sims said it. I thought Pete said it really well.
He said it, man. Energy vampire.
Energy vampire.
For
Yeah.
sure, man.
So that's the
Yeah, for
phrase.
sure.
And that's the problem. He can't be that. He can't be that. He has to be an energy guy. And
Enhancer. You got to be
an
energy multiplier.
Yes. Yes.
Exact opposite.
Yep. So I think they play better this week. I think they can win. I'm not, by no stretch of the imagination giving up on this team. I think this team can still have a really good year. There's, it's just right now they're in a strange spot because of the underlying current, narratives, the unknowns that are out there about where they go. That could be positive, could be negative, we don't know. It's just they're such in a weird place. So
we do know that the front office and the coaching staff hedged their bets.
Yeah.
You went and got a Jameis Winston. That's a starting caliber quarterback. Now you might not think he's an upper tier, but there's no denying that there are quarterbacks starting in this league that are less talented than Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
So they definitely. And I think they did it because they just weren't sure if he would hold up physically, but you went and did it. And we're not in the same spot we were this time last year when he went down and we're having to start a rookie. And like they've circumvented all of that.
Do you finish up with these two important questions?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you think they win on Sunday?
Yeah.
I do too.
0-2 is not an option. If you're going to lay an egg and they laid an egg, do it out of conference.
Yeah.
That is not the same penalty. You're going down to Jacksonville to play a team who has the same aspirations that you do. And they're in a weaker division. There's an easier path for them. And they're talented, man. That's a talented team. They haven't put it together yet, but we've seen them do it for stretches. So imperative, man. You got to come back from Northern Florida with a win.
Yeah. I have them winning this week too. I think they look significantly better on the offensive side. I think they have a rather a good defensive showing, and they win. and they need it so badly right now. But when under Stefanski, when they've needed it, when they've had to play desperate, they've come up big a lot of times. So, guys said all the right things today for the most part. They sounded confident. So I believe that he has them in a place to go out and play well. So I've got them winning as well. Now, the most serious, important question I can ask you all night. Okay,
I'm ready.
this, I mean, this does not. It does not get any more serious than this.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe that
Leroy
Leroy Bickerstaff
I knew you were doing this to
is
me.
Deshaun Watson?
No, I don't. I don't. I don't believe that Leroy Bickerstaff is Deshaun Watson. But would I be surprised if Leroy Bickerstaff is someone on Deshaun Watson's team? No, I wouldn't.
No.
I wouldn't. Yeah. You know, my name, I was going to put Leroy Bickerstaff as my name tonight. I thought about it. I should have.
Yeah. Yeah.
I should have. But yeah, man. That's bizarre. That's bizarre. But
Leroy Bickerchops. That is comment of the night goes to Serge.
You win. You win the chat.
A win. Winner. Leroy Bickerchops. Love that. Okay.
You're back. Nope, I can't hear you.
I froze again, didn't I?
You're back. There we go. It's like max headroom for all you old heads out there.
It's happening. It's keep freezing up tonight. Oh yeah, A-Shane anytime TD hit in the first. Thanks, Jacob. Good looking out, brother. It's one leg down. Couple more Bickerstaffs to go. All right.
I took A-Chain out of my lineup.
Our names that we would have used. Am I freezing again?
You are. You're frozen again. Guitar got my reference. Max headroom.
Am I back?
You're blinking. You're back right now.
That is so annoying. I don't know what's happening. I was gonna say, if we could only show this chat our names that we would have used for the burner account, or my names that I would have used for the burner account, I think they would have enjoyed that. Although probably not appropriate.
No, not appropriate.
Not appropriate.
They're hilarious. You're hilarious.
Very, very funny though. Sorry about the freezing up there. I hate that so much. But Leroy Bickerchops, that's the winner tonight. Serge, well done, sir. All right. Ron Mexico, greatest alter ego name of all time. It's another great one.
Mike Honcho.
Yeah. DeWitt was mine. DeWitt. All right. Sean Dotson. Yep. All right, here we go. All right, we got to get out of here before we get into these ones. All right, listen. Thank you all for joining us tonight. You guys are fantastic. We appreciate your contribution to the show. We try to make this show as interactive as possible. Actually, me in case we're talking before the show, and let us know. DMs are open. Are yours open?
Yeah.
DMs are open. If we did a live show somewhere in Northeast Ohio, Cleveland, whatever, would you attend?
Do we have the mandate of the masses? Would you guys attend a live show for all eyes?
Would you guys show up for a live show? So that's what we want to know, because we are thinking about doing, an on-site live show. So let us know what you think. And other than that, we're going to get out of here. Go check out everything going down at the OBR. We got you covered 24/7. Make sure you read Casey's articles on the Jaguars. Great stuff. I'll have something out tomorrow. Plus everybody else, including Jacob, everybody over there. So read all of their stuff. It's fantastic. Pete, Fred, who am I?
Read Jack
Cam,
Duffin's article about what happens
Jack
after.
Duffin's articles are in the description from last night's show, just so they had easy access to them. And then also Sam Pettick's some good film rooms this week to check out over at the site as well. So good job, everybody there. Check it out. Thanks for watching. Hit like, hit subscribe. Atone for your sins. This has been a all new edition of All Eyes on Cleveland. Going to get the dub this week. Feel much better next week coming around this way. For the always wonderful and extremely talented Casey Kinnamon. Follow him on Twitter at Casey_Kinnamon. My name is Brad Ward. We are